Well, good day and welcome to our 4th episode of Reverent Cooking. Today we are doing pancakes on my new griddle. I'm using Alton Brown's recipe, so I've got, he does everything by weight if he can do it. So I've got 14 ounces of flour. I have here a half an ounce of sugar. I've got half a tablespoon of baking powder, 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking soda, and a half teaspoon of salt. I'm going to mix all my dry goods together. Here, I like to use a whisk for this because it kind of aerates it and makes it light and fluffy while you're doing that. While I'm going to do that, I'm going to go ahead and start my griddle up so that it can get nice and toasty. And then I thought I would just kind of bring you another verse today. Psalm 86 verses Psalm 86 verses 12 and the first part of 13. With all my heart I will praise you, O Lord. I will give you glory to your name forever, for your love for me is very great. You know, God loves us a lot, and He pours out His blessings on us, and that's part of the reason why I felt called into ministry, and that's part of the reason why I love to cook, is because I want to be a blessing to others. I want them to see everything that God has done for me, and so I just feel like it's worth sharing. So with pancakes in particular, as I'm sharing you this recipe and cooking this nice dish, one of the things is you don't want to overmix your pancakes. So I've got here all my dry goods together. I'm going to add in my wet goods, and then we're going to let it sit. We're just going to let it rest for a little bit, and then we'll start making the pancakes. And so with those dry goods, I have here my wet goods, which is 2 medium-sized eggs, a tablespoon and a half of butter, and a cup and a half of milk. So I'm going to add that all in, and then we're just going to let it crack my eggs here. Make sure you don't get any shell in there. And now we're just going to kind of do a quick beat on the eggs, and then just about a dozen stirs. I'm going to make sure you break your eggs up good. Now, if you like your pancakes a little thicker, you can make them a little thicker. If you like them a little thinner, you can add a little more milk to your batter. You're not going to get all of the lumps out, and that's okay. In fact, you really don't want to get the lumps out, because those lumps in there are going to add those air pockets that pancakes are really known for. And so there's my batter. I'll show you guys the batter. And then I have been challenged by Blake to make one really big pancake just for him. So I'll make a couple of small ones to make sure my griddle is working well, and then I'll make one big one. I'm going to go ahead and get out my nice little infrared thermometer, and let's see how we're doing. We're about 223 there, about 250 over here. I've noticed as I've been learning my griddle, every grill is unique. They don't necessarily heat evenly. My left-hand side here heats a little hotter than my right-hand side does. And you want about 300 to 350 for pancakes. We're about 283 there and about 240 over here. So that's about where I want it to be. I've got here some butter. One of the things I like a buttery flavored pancake. And so I'm going to take this butter and I'm going to put this down as my coat. I've been using avocado oil on my grill, but for this I really do think that the butter just gives it a better flavor. So we're going to kind of spread this butter around. Make sure you get a good coat. And then as soon as this butter coats here, we'll be ready to start making pancakes. So pancakes are fairly easy to do, but one of the things is knowing when to flip them. what you want to do, what you want to look for is when the bubbles start to dry out on top. That's when you know it's time to so I got a good coat here. I'm actually going to turn my heat down just a little bit because I don't want to cook this at full temperature. And so we're going to put a little one over here. And then we're going to put a bigger one over here for Blake. That's going to be a massive pancake, but that's what he wanted. So we'll see how that goes. Got some comments. Do you melt the butter ahead of time? For the butter that I put in the pancakes, I do melt it in advance. I think it just makes for a smoother melt. I considered melting it on my griddle in my cast iron skillet and pouring it in, but I just felt like it'd be a lot easier to have that melted for mixing sake. And so, yeah, that. And then these are massive pancakes. And I probably should have added a little more milk to this one. I like a little thinner pancake batter, so for the next round I'll probably will add a little more milk. But we're gonna let these kind of bubble and we'll see how it goes. So I'm gonna because this is thicker, it's not doing that classic bubbling that'll plus I poured it kind of thick. And this one, my goodness, Blake wanted a big one, but I'm gonna have to use my bigger spatula here. I like that, but it's not as universal, it's not as handy. Oops, and you just saw my nice little mistake. I didn't wait long enough to let that go. But Blake will still eat it because Blake loves his pancakes. Pancakes are one of the first things that I learned how to cook. My dad always made pancakes for our sunrise service at church. And so the batter, it took me a long time to figure it out. I like Alton Brown's recipe, and I think I probably just shorted a little bit on the milk side of this, but these are making some massive pancakes. So you can add, I actually have over here, I've got some blueberries and chocolate chips. And I probably ought to move these chocolate chips over here actually, because they're getting kind of hot and melty, and we don't really want that until you get it in your pancake. So when you make a bigger pancake, it does take a lot longer for it to cook. The thicker your pancake is, the more time it takes. That's why a lot of times if you go to restaurants, they make those thinner pancakes because they can flip them and get them out really quick. And now my friends are here, standing in the wings waiting for me to make these first ones and get them off so that I can make their special orders. But any questions about pancakes or griddles? The thing about putting the butter down instead of the oil is it also kind of protects the pancake from taking in that onion flavor that I seasoned my griddle with originally. I like the onion flavor for grilling meats and vegetables, but you really don't want the onion flavor in a pancake, and so that's part of why I switched oils. That layer of fat actually, as it gets hot, it keeps the pancake from sticking to the griddle and therefore taking on some of that flavor. It's not very pretty, but I'm going to go ahead and flip this one more time, and I'm going to grab a plate. And because this is a thicker pancake, it didn't quite pour like the rest, but there you go. Heart-shaped pancake. You guys have a great day, and I hope you enjoy whatever it is that you're doing today. God bless.